Good morning to all of you. In last lecture, we have discussed about the basic concept of object-oriented design and analysis. Today, we will discuss different kind of diagrams you need to draw in object-oriented design and analysis. The first one is problem statement that we can say that is called SRS document, software requirement specification document. First activity of object-oriented analysis is create a use case model, what we have discussed in first module. Second thing is we need to draw the activity diagram if required. If suppose that developer are not able to understand as well as customer are not able to understand what we need to implement it. At that moment of time, we need to draw the activity diagram. Activity diagram is similar to the flow chart. Third is a interaction diagram. This is the most important part of the object-oriented design that describe the dynamic behavior of the system. Next one is draw the class diagram, then state chart, and last one is draw the component as well as deployment diagram. So according to your syllabus, uh, the use case model, activity diagram, interaction diagram, as well as class diagram is most important. So we will discuss one by one. First one is use case model. First step to identify the actor interacting with the system. We should then write the use case and draw the use case diagram. So there is three things we need to use. First one is actor, second one is relationship, and third one is use case. Second one is activity diagram. In activity diagram, describe the dynamic nature of the system by modeling the flow of control from activity to activity. An activity represents an operation on some class in the system that result in a change in the state of the system. So first we will discuss about the use case. Use case for the library management systems. Here they are describing that how many actors are involved in use case diagram. So use case represents the typical set of scenario that help the structure relate and understand the essential requirement. A use case diagram is a diagram that helps system analysts to discover the requirement of the targeted system from the user point of view. Use case diagram can use to describe the functionality of the system in a horizontal way. So use case diagram are used to represent functionality of the system from the top-down perspective. Just like example, in this example, librarian as well as member, these are the two actors. Arrow represent the relationship between the actor as well as use case. So different use case are describing just like a check availability of book, verify the member, issue the book, calculate the fine. So some different things we need to include. Include means suppose that if a student, yeah, member want to issue a book, that we need to check the availability of book. If book is available, then only the book is issued. Same as another at the last, you can see that calculate fine. Calculate fine means librarian will check whether the fine is calculated or not. If a student have fine, that they need to pay the fine, verify the member, and submit the fine. So these are the activities are involved. Generally, use case diagram is used to represent or to access the customer requirement in a customer point of view. That should be visualize the system, how the system look like, who will interact with the system, what kind of the functionality that is provided by the developer. Second one is activity diagram. Activity diagram is one of the most important part of UML diagrams, which describes the flow of activity in the systems. Activity diagram is basically a flow chart, which shows the connection between the one activity of the system to another activity. Before drawing the activity diagram, you should list the activity of user and connection between the activities. So activity diagram for library management system, we will discuss as well as other examples. This is an example of activity diagram. So in this diagram, we need to describe that the starting point as well as close. While we are receiving the order, we need to send order to the store for delivery. At same moment of time, send invoice. While we are getting the payment, we need to deliver the goods to an appropriate transport model. While the customer receives the order, and we need to close the order. Just like example, while you are purchasing goods and services through a Flipkart or Amazon, you need to place the order. After that, organization will receive the order. They will send while you either online payment or cash on delivery. So there are two mode of payment. So set of activities we need to describe in order to starting to ending. Matlab receiving as well as closing activities. Another example of activity diagram is like a flow chart. So in this diagram, check the availability of book. If book is available, sorry, if book is available, then validate the member. If book is not available, display the error message. Sorry, book is not available. Next one is validate member. If member is not valid, we need to display the error message. If member is valid, check the number of book is issued. Then we need to check display error message. If more than book are issued, create the transactions. These are the flow chart. Activity diagram means just like a flow chart. This is an important part that is called interaction diagram. An interaction diagram shows the interaction consisting of a set of objects and their relationship, including the message that may be dispatched among them. Interaction diagram address the dynamic behavior or dynamic view of the system. What are the steps involved? Firstly, we should identify the object with respect to every use case. We draw the sequence diagram for every use case. We draw the collaboration diagram for every use case. So these are the three objects we are using. We are using generally four objects. First one is entity object. Second one interface object. Third one is control object. And fourth one is database object. In database object, simply we draw the arrow in a circle. So that is called database object. Next is same interaction diagram as well as sequence diagram are same. Just like example, librarian, book, member record as well as transaction. So all these are the four objects. First one is first message that is transferred by the librarian. Check the availability of book. Then they will receive book available in rack number. And third message, they will send librarian validate merchant. Fourth message is transfer, check the number of book issued. Next, book can be issued. So all these details are reflected on the interface object. All these things are reflected on the interface object. Another example we will discuss with the help of different kind of objects. Next one is 6 message means we are creating the transaction. We need to add the member as well as book details. After that, we need to update the book status and update the member record. So these are the sequence of steps we need to follow while we are drawing the interaction diagram or sequence diagram. Collaboration diagram is not in your syllabus. We will discuss about the class diagram. So the class diagram shows the relationship among the classes. There are 4 types of relationship in a class diagram. First one is association, or the semantic connection between the classes. When an association connects 2 classes, each class can send message to the other in a sequence or collaboration diagram. Association can be a bidirectional or unidirectional. Dependency connect 2 classes. Dependency are always unidirectional and show that one class depend on the definitions in another class. Aggregations are the stronger form of association. An aggregation is a relationship between a whole as its parts. Next is generalization are used to show the inheritance relationship between the 2 classes. Classes are the basic building block of object-oriented analysis. Classes are implement units also. Class diagrams is a central piece in object-oriented analysis. So it specifies class in the systems, what kind of association between the classes, subtype relationship. Class itself represented as a box with name, attributes as well as methods. There are conventions for naming. If a class is an interface, this can be specified by the interface stereotype. Properties of attribute method can be specified by the tag between. So this is the example. name of the class, attribute, as well as methods or functions. If the class is interface, we need to describe double arrow, attributes, as well as function. This relationship leads to a class hierarchy, can be captured in a class diagram. Arrow coming from the subclass to the superclass with head touching super allow multiple subclasses. It specify is done on the basis of some discriminator. Arrow can be labeled. This is an example. IITK persons may be a student or may be an employee. Student is an undergraduate or postgraduate. Employee may be a staff, research, as well as faculty. So job nature is discriminated based on staff, research, as well as faculty. Class have other relationships just like associations as well as aggregations. So when an object of a class needs services from the other objects, showing by a line joining class, multiplicity can be represented. Aggregation, when an object is composed of other objects. Capture, part, whole relationship shown with a diamond connection classes. This is an example. Biometric as well as address, aggregated, IITK persons, advances. This is a basic example of class diagram. First, we need to identify how many classes in the system. So here there are 5 classes: book, librarian, transactions, member record, as well as bill. Class name with attribute with function. All the classes have 3 properties, 3 things: name, attribute, as well as function. Line describing that the relationship or association between the classes. So you need to draw the class diagram. Okay, in next one is design a state chart diagram. A state chart diagram is used to show a state space of a given class. The event that cause a transition from one state to another state, and the actions that result from a state changes. A state transition diagram for a book in the library systems. First, suppose that we are purchasing a new book. The book is new. While we are book is numbered or stamped, a book is available in the library. Book may be returned or issued. These 2 kind of operations are performed. After a long period of time, book is old or damaged, so we need to dispose the book. So this is an example of state chart diagram. Okay, so student, we will discuss about the sequence diagram. Suppose first we need to draw the use case diagram. Then for each use case, we need to draw the sequence diagram. How? Suppose that first activity is login. So user is the actor. Login functionality without any interface object. We are not able to enter any user ID as well as password. Just like an example, you are opening a Gmail or Yahoo Mail. You will enter URL, then enter your user ID as well as password through an interface object. These details are submitted to the login checker. These details, login checker is not itself of a database. They will fetch the details from the login details database and check whether the match or not. If match details, then successfully log in. Otherwise, error message is displayed. So this is for one activity. Another activity is maintain student detail. So we need to draw the maintain student detail. Third one activity is issue book. We need to draw the sequence diagram for return book or issue book. So for every use case, we need to draw the sequence diagram. Is it clear? Thank you very much.